Alright y'all, welcome back to the shop. Let's get started. In this episode, we're going to show y'all how we changed our carpet to laminate. So the first step is to try and convince your wife not to do this, because it's way too much work. You don't want to do it. And when that fails, then you get started on changing the carpet. Now the first thing you need to do is get this guy out of the way, along with all the furniture, and it'll tear up this old carpet. We got a little bet going that the linoleum is from the kitchen all the way into this room here. And if that's the case, then we don't need to purchase any underlayment. And I'm kind of banking on that. We've already spent a small fortune on this flooring. So stick with us and let's show you how to do it. Okay, y'all. This is how you get a hernia. Pay attention. When you're lacking help, sometimes you got to do things the bull way. We might better leave it like this. We've located a seam right here. So this will be the point where I start to yank this carpet up. Now we do have a little wager going that linoleum is in here, and I'm not so sure it is. But let's see what happens.
I need to win this bet.
So if we just, you can either use a knife or whatever, and you can yank up on this carpet like thusly.
Oops, wait, you're moving the camera.
There's a sticky tape divider in between these two rooms that's holding the carpet together. I'm not tearing the carpet. It looks like it, but I'm not. You look under here. This doesn't look good for me, Mr. Capers. Anyway, so Lisa, if you back the camera up a little bit, because I'm going to yank on this pretty good. Alright, y'all, so we got plenty of helpers in here. And you just yank this thing up. Like so. Come on, grab a hold of this. No. Alright, so now the question becomes, Vernon loses the bet today. We need the underlayment at $30 a roll. At any rate, what we'll do is, I got some real help here. I can see this guy's going to be a big help. And we are going to continue to yank this entire carpet up, clean up this old, don't touch them, they hurt. Clean up this old rubber underlayment stuff, and we will continue from there. Man, he's happy. We should leave it this way.
Oh, look, they kept a piece there.
You are a good shot helper.
Whoops. Look, they kept one little piece. Isn't that something? Come here, Atlas. Come here. Atlas. You're a big helper. You are.
Nut. In all seriousness, folks, roll it off of the nail strips and such so that it's just easier to handle. When you're done, you can snake it out the door and be gone with it. I got my helpers here. Capers, watch out. And there's no seam here between the two rooms, so I'm going to just make an arbitrary cut here to get it loose. And then we will roll it this way because it's narrower. Either that or I am not rolling it correctly. This is the eyeball method. I probably shouldn't do this, but look at that, straight as an arrow. Now be aware, folks, those nail strips are vicious. They bite. They're very, very, very sharp. Be very careful working around those. They hurt. everything has to be timed here when you have a helper like this shop helper. See, you step back and he comes over here, or maybe over here. Oh. Alright, so just for another little bit of information, you cannot use this type of underlayment underneath the laminate. It's too thick, too spongy. So this will all have to come up too, and it's nothing but makes a huge mess when you pull it up. Carpet for sale.
Yeah. Thank God we have a dumpster. And he's still helping.
Come on, you. Hey, this way. Hey, 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 hey. Atlas. Get in there.
You missed that.
Come on, Kate. One last time to pee on the carpet.
No carpet.
All right, y'all. At the sake of embarrassing Lisa, which just has nothing to do with Lisa, this has everything to do with carpets. This house, we bought this house. Someone had lived here for, I think, 15 years before us. And it doesn't matter how many times you run your vacuum over your carpet, eventually the dirt gets through. And what I want to show you is Lisa vacuums about every day. And here's what's underneath that carpet. Fleas, mites, all kinds of nastiness. Look right here. That is all dirt, powder, to the consistency of talcum powder that finds its way through your carpet. So, we don't like carpets. Okay, so the next step is to go through and pull out all these little staples and pull the tack strips off. Get yourself a pair of these horseshoe clippers, I call them, but they're actually good for pulling staples. Staples. One of these thin pry bars, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. It doesn't really matter where I start, but what we'll do is Lisa's going to go around and she's going to vacuum everything up so that I don't have to be in my knees and all this stuff. But you'll take the pry bar.
I'm just trying to help.
I'm waiting for you guys to say action.
Action!
Okay, so I had to switch to four-wheel drive for this little process. I can't see without it. Anyway, on this nail strip, this tack strip, a lot of times you can see where they've actually used the nail that holds it down. In this case, I think they use staples because I'm not being able to locate them. But anyway, drive your nail underneath, pop them up. There's quite a lot of tediousness about this. And as I said, those little suckers right there are vicious. Do not get them in your knee, in your hand, in your finger, in your eyeball, because they don't feel good. Alright, so we're going to continue. Lisa's going to vacuum, and we're going to get this all cleaned up. Every one of these little doodads here has a staple in it. We got to get them up, otherwise it'll cause grief. And that's just a matter of prying and bending and getting a hold of it. Now these guys, the way you use these pliers, some people know, some people don't. You grab the staple, squeeze just enough not to cut it off, and then roll the pliers like that. Grab again and roll them, and it pulls the staple out. Like I said, just enough pressure to hold it and roll it forward. That's why these are made this way. So while doing this, it dawned on me, you guys should get one of these too, any kind of a box. As you're pulling up the staples and nails, it makes no sense to throw them back on the floor. Put them in a box, doesn't have to be tin, cardboard, whatever. Keep your dog out of them. Very difficult when you have a helper like this. Okay, y'all, there's nothing worse on a job site than a contractor that doesn't bring their own tools. So I am down to my needle nose pliers now, and I've got to use this massive pry bar because the contractor that is assisting me doesn't have her own tools.
It's not funny.
Alright, y'all, so this step is merely cosmetic, purely cosmetic. We do this in the heating and cooling industry so that you can't see into the registers. It's kind of an old habit that die hard. If you put a little cardboard there, that'll be a problem. Anybody that's a professional will paint their registers so that if you happen to look in there, you can't see silver shiny metal. So we're going to do this one over here quick. We're also going to paint these registers black when we get done so that, again, I just think it'll look nicer, so that's what we're going to do. Got shiny register boots, they should be painted. And the next thing is really cosmetic too, but you know me. Now, 100 years from now, somebody will know who did it. Your buddy from YouTube. Okay, y'all, you want to bring your flooring in and probably let it go for over 24 hours so it acclimatizes to the room, to the temperature, to the moisture in the house before you go ahead and put that down. My helper here, Jake, and I are going to bring it in, pile it over there out of the way. And once that's acclimatized, then we will continue. So we went with the old Blue Hawk underlayment, only for the reason that I like blue. So that's the only reason, and it was the cheapest. Now what you'll do is you'll lay this on the floor and throw that flooring down. Here's your underlayment rolls. I want to point something out to you. It's kind of another little thing you need to know. These are the same rolls. One's one way, one's the other. The reason I'm showing you this is this side has these plastic, or this plastic tab attached to it. And what that allows you to do is take the other side, which if you can look at that right there, it's an adhesive strip. This roll will rest on top of this tab and butt joint up against the previous piece, and that's how you keep doing this. You unroll it. I'm hoping I can let you see this correctly. You'd unroll this on the floor and they would butt joint right here, tab up, sticky part goes on top of this to hold the two pieces together. So folks, against my better judgment, you have to take your molding off. I didn't want to, but in order for this to be a professional install or a professional looking install, the molding has to come off. So, and a lot of times they will put a layer of silicone on there. Very carefully with a knife, you want to run the knife along the top of the molding to break the seal between the silicone and the molding. You're probably going to have to reapply silicone when you get done doing this. Let me get this off and I will show you what I'm talking about. The reason that this has to come off, I very well could snap this, and if I do, I'm just going to have to redo the molding. But it has to come off, and there's a very important reason why. When you take these off, I typically will number them with a pencil. I'll put a number here that coincides. Somebody's already done it. They got a number 8 there, but there's nothing here. At any rate, the reason you need to take this off, I was going to put quarter round molding on top. Take my flooring, bring it up, pull it away 1/4 of an inch to maintain the gap that you need. Put quarter round there and cover up the gap. What'll happen though is when you get to this point here with your window door trim, your door casing, it will create a space right here. And this will be ugly. There'll be no way to trim that in and make it look pretty. What you'll do is take a multi-tool. Let me grab the blade, if I have it right here. You will take a multi-tool blade, multi-tool tool with a flat blade on it, and you will take a piece of the floor molding, or the floor itself, the flooring itself, and you will take your tool and you will run it right tight to the top of there and cut just a small portion of this off. That way when you're done, the flooring will slide underneath the door casing trim, tight up against this, tight up against that, and you won't have this ugly looking profile that you can't close in with anything. Some people use silicone and caulk. That's not professional. Cut the door casing, slide it underneath like you're supposed to, pull the molding. We're going to pull all this molding up, number it. Hopefully I don't break too many pieces, and then we'll come back and put it back on when the job's done. Cool, cool, cool. Take a minute and talk about professionalism. You see that molding, nice and flat all the way along the floor. Manufactured housing, they give themselves a bad reputation for the things they do. That little piece of molding, I don't know if you can see it behind the boxes of laminate. This is flat. This is turned up to get on top of the carpet over here. You can see the gap right here on the bottom. That's just poor workmanship. Don't do things like that, people. Try to do right by your customers. Let's put this down, and it just makes it easier to lay these pieces of laminate out to hold this flat. Some people do it so that there is one piece down, they put their floor laminate to the edge of it, then they put the next piece down and continuing. We're not going to do it that way, we're going to do the whole floor. Alright y'all, so you got to maintain a 5/16 per the manufacturer of this brand of flooring. 5/16 of an inch all the way around. These floors float. So I went out to the shop and I cut a bunch of these spacers, and we're using them along the edge to hold the flooring away the way we need to hold it on. Now, the way this flooring goes in is it's a snap lock process, but we have to be sure that you start with a full piece along the side. Well, this little jog here created a little bit of a challenge. Basically what I had to do was cut the notch out of the first piece, a portion of the next piece, so that I could have a full piece right here to continue down through with. When I get to the other end, I'm going to have to do the process in reverse. I'll have to cut the notch out and continue. But the way this works is you put a full piece in all the way down to the other end, cut your next piece in half. So we've already assembled this, but this is a half piece right here we started with. Then you continue with full pieces all the way down. The next one that goes in will be a full piece, like this. Get this in the right way. You've got to maintain this groove, I guess I would call, on this side and on that end. These sit on edge like so. You push them in and they snap down, and now that one is in place. Of course, I'm going to go up there against the edge. So you can just slide it like that. Put it in. We would take our little spacer and put it along the edge so that I don't go too far up against the wall. And you need a solid surface against the wall for the next step. Now, you can buy what they call a driving block or a tapping block, because you start like this, drop it down, then you have to drive it that way. But there's another way you can do this, and I'll demonstrate that if I put the board on the right way, which I was backwards. Once you get it to lock into the two, let's call this the run, like that. Get yourself a real soft pair of rubber-soled shoes, and we'll call this the stomp method. And it's in there. And that's all it takes, folks. You can drive on that and pound on it with a hammer, but if you have a good pair of rubber-soled shoes, you can snap them in like that and they will lock. Now, I've had these floors before, and sometimes these seams will open up. You can go along and do that throughout time. Tap them back together and it'll stay tight for you. That's just another tip. But we're going to continue, and we'll go from here and work our way across the floor. Also, the reason why we're running them this way is because the floor joists go this way. And if this was true hardwood flooring, obviously you can't lay your boards this way in between the floor joists, they would fall through. So the planking goes the opposite of what we perceive the floor joists to be in. So we're going to continue. So Jake says we need to show you how we're going to cut this notch out right here. And I'll show you that real quick. So we take a full piece, we got our spacers in, that creates a nice stop block that I can push this against, like that. Then we can slide this up until it hits the corner, right here. No big deal. Just slide it up till you hit the corner, and then simply make the mark. Now, for the sake of trying to remember what you're cutting off, what is stock and what is saved, put a couple of X's on the part that you're going to cut away. Now I'm going to remove this, and when I'm finished, this will slide over, and you'll have the remaining piece in there. Now you can do the same thing if I've got enough length here, which I do. You can put this up tight like this, mark your point here. Now I need a 5/16 gap. Luckily I have a little block I can measure that with. That will give me the 5/16 spacage. Spacage? I don't know if that's the right word. We'll call it spacage that we need right here after I snap that in. Again, this is going bye-bye. So I'll cut that off and we'll see if we can make it fit. So here's something you need to be aware of, y'all. That right there is a piece of glue, and it will keep you from snapping together. So you'll have to get after that with a knife or something to get that out of there. Folks, here's an unfortunate thing that you have to deal with. That's a full piece wasted, that's a full piece wasted, that's one, that's one, that's one. We've tried to compensate and adjust it. There's just no adjusting for it. So that's going to be probably a whole other box that we've got to buy. Close that in. Or we can just go get a 2x6 and put it on there and see if it notices. Sometimes hard workers just need to take a break. Atlas, are you done working for today? Well, it certainly looks like it. Alright folks, the last one for this room anyway. Well, kind of the last one. We still got to run along the edge and put this side in. But you get the gist of what we're doing here. On each one of these we'll close them in, put the molding back up, and Lisa will have her new floor. I hope you got something out of this video. Give us a like, a share, and a comment. Please subscribe. If you've subscribed already, hit the button once. Don't hit it again. You're all set. You're all signed up. Thanks for the help, Jake. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.